Hey there, it's Kat and this is Brews and Reviews. The Netflix original series Shadow and Bone has finally dropped. Some people love it and some people are confused. If you don't know, this series is based on the Grishaverse books by Leigh Bardugo. The show is an amalgamation of characters and storylines from the original Grisha trilogy, which is Shadow and Bone, Siege and Storm, and Ruin and Rising, and the Six of Crows duology, which is Six of Crows and Crooked Kingdom. The show's plot is mostly that of Shadow and Bone, with a few events taken from Six of Crows and some that were purely invented for the show. The main plot takes place in the fantastical country of Ravka, which has been split down the middle by a wall of shadow called the Shadowfold or the Fold. While a mapmaker serving in the First Army is attacked while crossing the Shadowfold, it's discovered that she may be the mythical sun summoner that Ravka's been hoping for. For those of us who've read the books, the show is relatively well explained and, in my opinion, fantastic, but it could be a little bit complicated for those of you who don't have the context from the books. So just an FYI, this video is only going to cover information that would not be considered a spoiler for either the show or the books. Just think of it as a little cheat sheet for those of you who don't know very much about Grisha. So today I'm going to be talking to you guys about Grisha. What is a Grisha? What do they do? What's the Second Army? Why are they so sexy? Wait, no. So first let's answer the question, what is a Grisha? Grisha are humans who practice the small science, which is the ability to manipulate matter at its most basic form. This essentially appears to be magic, but it's actually science and it does abide by physical laws. Grisha cannot make something out of nothing, but they can manipulate the matter around them. For instance, an Inferni cannot actually create a fire, but they can manipulate the combustible gases around them. Using a flint as a catalyst to start the fire, they can then send that fire where they wish. While some Grisha are born with their abilities, most Grisha powers develop at a relatively young age. In Ravka, young children are tested, and if they are found to be Grisha, then they will be taken to the Little Palace where they can learn to use the small science and develop their abilities. Grisha in Ravka then become part of the Second Army, which is a military regiment that is composed completely of Grisha and led by General Kirigan. Just for reference, the First Army is an army made up of people who are not Grisha. Grisha are typically split into 3 orders, where they will then choose to specialize in a certain element of the small science. So there are many different types of Grisha and many different abilities. So what are the different Grisha orders and what do they do? As I said before, Grisha are normally separated into 3 different orders, though there are some Grisha who have developed rare or unique abilities, but we'll get to those in a minute. The 3 Grisha orders are Corporalki, Materialki, and Etherealki. Let's take a look at these one at a time. The Corporalki are the Order of the Living and the Dead, and their abilities focus on altering matter within the human body. There are 2 main Corporalki specialisms. They are Heartrenders and Healers. A healer's job is pretty self-explanatory. They use their abilities to heal wounds and fix bones and that sort of thing. Heartrenders are a little bit more complicated. They can use their abilities to manipulate internal organs, usually to cause harm. For instance, they can cause heart attacks, they can slow someone's heart rate enough for them to pass out, or they can influence emotions by stimulating certain hormones. Moving on to the Materialki. The Materialki are the Order of the Fabricators, and their abilities allow them to alter or manipulate materials such as metal, glass, textiles, and chemicals. While there is a distinction between the 2 specialisms, the Alchemy and the Jurasts, they are mostly just collectively named as fabricators. They are also responsible for most of the technological advancements the Grisha have. For instance, they created the material that allows a kefta to be bulletproof. Alchemy focus their powers on chemicals, such as poisons and blasting powder, while Jurists work with solid material. Without even touching an object that is a solid at its molecular level, they are able to change the shape, texture, or composition of the object. So now let's talk about Etherealki. The Etherealki is the Order of the Summoners, and their abilities are turned towards manipulating the natural elements. The 3 main specialisms for the Etherealki are Squallers, who can manipulate the air pressure around them to create gusts of wind and storms and things like that. Inferni, who can manipulate combustible gases in the air around them that can then be set alight, and Tidemakers, who can summon and control water by manipulating temperature. To compare this to another amazing show, Summoners are kind of like air, water, and firebenders from Avatar: The Last Airbender, only with a little bit more practical science behind their abilities. Now let's really quickly go over the rarer types of Grisha that are featured in Shadow and Bone. Tailors are an uncommon type of Corporalki, who can alter a person's physical appearance. The Darkling and the Sun Summoner are both rare types of Etherealki, as they can both summon and control shadows and the light respectively. So how do you know which Grisha can do what? You may have noticed that Grisha wear different coloured keftas, which if you don't know yet is kind of a bulletproof coat. Keftas are essentially a uniform for a Grisha serving in the Second Army, and luckily for us, they are colour coordinated. The colour of a kefta's fabric determines which order a Grisha belongs to, and the colour of the embroidery on that kefta signifies their specialism. For the purposes of this video, I'm only going to be talking about keftas worn in the Shadow and Bone show, so no spoilers for anything that happens in the future. So let's get into these colours. If you see someone in a red kefta, they're corporalki. If you see someone in a purple kefta, they're materialki. And if you see someone in a blue kefta, they're etherealki. White and gold are colours reserved for servants of the Grand Palace, and most notably, Genya the tailor wears a kefta of this colour. And lastly, we have the black kefta. Very fittingly, black is the Darkling's colour, and no one else is permitted to wear it. Now let's talk about that embroidery. For corporalki, there are two main embroidery colours, black and grey. Black embroidery on a red kefta means that the Grisha is a heartrender, and grey means they are a healer. For materialki, there are also two embroidery colours, grey for Juris and red for alchemy. For etherealki, there are actually four notable embroidery colours. Tidemakers have a pale blue embroidery, Inferni have red, and Scholars have silver. The fourth type of embroidery is gold, and that is reserved for the Sun Summoner. So I hope that explained a little bit of extra information about the Grisha featured in Netflix's adaptation of Shadow and Bone. If you have any questions, or if there are any other Shadow and Bone topics that you'd like explained a bit further, then let me know in a comment below. If you enjoyed this video, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!